So one of the main things that we've been involved in since I'm a student at the Faculty of Law, and Khadija also in my year, in our first year of law school, we had a great experience being in person. So this was pre-COVID, 2019, 2020. I remember the first great event that we organized was a protest against Bill 21. um, it was organized in collaboration with the Faculty of Education as well, and we had a great turnout. It was freezing cold, minus 30 degrees outside in January, and we had so many people come out and protest against this horrible law. So Bill 21 is always a main issue that we talk about and that we try to spread awareness on, because it's directly related to law, and we're law students. And Khadija, you can speak about some of the other initiatives that we've been working on.
Assalamu alaikum. I was racking my brain now to think about the initiatives that we're drawn to since we started in law school, and I really think that Bill 21 takes a large portion of our attention. I think just going back to what Asya said is that Bill 21 is a law, and I think as Muslim women who are visibly Muslim, and members of the MLSA, I think we feel a unique responsibility to take up that initiative in whatever capacity. And I do remember that protest, and I think that was a really beautiful moment of solidarity, because we also worked with the RAD Law student group within our Faculty of Law, and we did like a McGill law against Bill 21 coalition, and that was really, really beautiful. And I think moments of crisis, I guess, or moments of social crisis do bring about beautiful moments sometimes, just because you see community members coming out that may not be visibly impacted for Bill 21. And so I think that has been such a beautiful spark, an unexpected silver lining to our involvement with Bill 21. Of course, we've done some other activities that are more internal, like we've had opportunities for Muslim students to just come together and just be Muslim, and not really the political element of it. So we've had last year we had a virtual iftar. I think our external facing events really are Bill 21 related, because of our unique position as Muslims and law students. And then internally, I think it's more so giving space to Islamic history, giving space to us to gather, to have iftar, to break fast when it's Ramadan. So those are the two elements. But I would say, because we're a minority group, and meaning we are, there aren't a lot of Muslims at the Faculty of Law relative to other non-Muslims. And so we do, a lot of our time is occupied by Bill 21 advocacy.
There's also the vigil that we organized for the shooting in Quebec City. We were in person. This was January, so about 2 months before COVID started. And I remember we organized this vigil, and a lot of, like, over 100 students of the faculty attended, the dean attended, and it was just a moment where people came together and we saw the solidarity, and it was, like, as Khadija said, a silver lining. And I think it was really important for us to share that with our colleagues, to see how much we were impacted as a community and how much this threat of Islamophobia is real.
So before COVID, the number of events were much more, like, because the situation was much better, the club was more like active. A lot of, again, the general goal of this club is to spread the message of Ahlul Bayt, the Prophet's progeny and household. So there is different types of, like, events that were being held. Some examples of this are the Faces of Faith, which was done with Dr. Shumali. He's from London. the multi-faith dialogue, which was an event that hosted two panelists, one which is a Christian priest, and there is another who is a Muslim, and to just try to highlight the common and the mutual thoughts between Muslims and Christians and other McGillian students and the communities. One of the events which really was interesting for me is the mental health matters, which focuses on the Muslim student life balance, especially being in the college or at the university. With all these in mind, of course, there's some more specific events such as the Facts and Fiction of Ashura or some of the Women of Karbala, such more specific and focused events. Meanwhile, I would talk about my story, how I got to know about the TMA on campus. The Thursday night is a very important night, mainly for all Muslims. And there's something very special that we do recite. It's called Dua Kumel. This dua is very sensitive, and we really enjoy. It's very high spirituality that we really enjoy reciting every Thursday night. So I've got invited by a friend to the event of Dua Kumel on campus. And that was the best thing I ever made me feel special coming as an international student coming from overseas, to overcome all the homesickness feeling. It made me feel that I do have a community. I'm actually very welcomed in here. And attending that event was something that was really helpful, digging into the McGill's life. So we do have such events, which are done usually in the evenings on the campus. Meanwhile, with all the COVID situation.
I mean, Sarah's actually covered most of the points, but as she mentioned, TMA has been there for several years, but it was dormant for a year before COVID. And then some members took the initiative at the start of COVID, and they started making the group more active. I remember I was still not in Montreal, but I joined in through Zoom. So that was one of the benefits. You could, even though I was not in Montreal, I was able to make friends even before I was not in Montreal. So I was able to speak to many people who were already in McGill, at McGill and Montreal. So that's one of perhaps the silver lining, as they say. That's one part of it. And then if you look at the events that Sarah mentioned, I think these events are not just specifically for Shias, they're for everybody in the community, right? So we had an interfaith dialogue as well. We had historical perspective on the events of Karbala. So these things are for the general public. It's not just for Shia students, and that's what we try to do in our events.
Yeah, I'll inspire myself with Sarah's story and tell you my own and how I progressed through the MSA, and hopefully through my personal history, you'll come to see everything that the MSA does. So I came to Montreal, not necessarily at first looking for a prayer space. I went to a very secular high school. I was not expecting to find a prayer space on campus. So that was not what I was looking for. I came in and I saw there's a Muslim frosh. And before coming to McGill, I've heard all about frosh and how it may not be suitable for me. And I felt, okay, is there an alternative? And that's the first thing that I saw. I saw a Muslim frosh where Muslims have fun in their own way. We went on picnics, we went on the canal, canoeing, we went laser tagging, all those things. So I came in, and that's the first impression that I got of the MSA. It's a nice social club, let's say, at the beginning. That's how it started. I got that impression, and it was very convenient because, like Sarah and like Saif, I was an international student, and the first few days were kind of awkward. Like, you meet people and you're like, oh, what do you do? And it was easier to connect, and it was a nice transition into the university life. And after being in MSA Frosh for a couple of days, I came to find about all the prayer accommodations that are available, which obviously was very convenient for someone who didn't have those accommodations for the last few years. And then as I was going to the prayer space, I met some more people, and they told me about upcoming events that the MSA was organizing in terms of charity. Charity is a central part of the Muslim tradition and the Muslim daily life. So they were organizing something called Project Downtown. The MSA was creating goodie bags for homeless people in downtown and distributing them. After the charity event came another type of event where it was more educational. First, I was like, oh, outside of class, I'm having enough classes. Why would I go to another class? But I've come to see that the programming that they provided at the time, and we're still hoping to provide, I've come to see that, okay, faith is not just something that you practice on your own in your little corner and something that you blindly believe in. Those classes helped me connect a little bit more with the academic history that surrounds Islam and how traditions have been passed on and how people have thought about all the different questions that come up and not just taking things like blindly. So that's the more education part of the MSA activity. And then obviously, as you keep on progressing and you keep on participating in the social, the community, the educational events, obviously at some point you're faced with situations like Bill 21, like the shooting of the Quebec mosque, and you feel the need and you feel the opportunity to speak on those issues and to be a member of your society, not just in your little community. I know I mentioned at the beginning, it started me being in a small little group of froshies that were having fun together, but also, okay, we are here in Quebec, we are here in Canada, and people are willing to listen, and they should listen, because if they don't, well, we've seen what happens with Bill 21 and the shooting. So you slowly progress towards the advocacy part of the MSA. So yeah, as you can see, there's so many events happening, so many different initiatives. We've had to adapt a lot with COVID, obviously. Last semester, we were so excited to be back on campus, to finally have our prayer services again, to have our iftar. I think Khadija mentioned that a little bit earlier for their group. Iftar is the breaking of the fast. So it's a nice communal dinner where everyone enjoys together and shares a meal, usually after a day of fasting. Yeah, MSA personally have provided me with a very rich experience on campus, and not only like rich in terms of experience, like social one, but also I feel like intellectually and spiritually it helps you grow. But yeah, like Saif mentioned, we had a lot of people that started their year last year and they were remotely, they were in the US, they were in Eastern Asia, they were like in North Africa, and they just joined on Zoom and they were able to meet people. And one of our VPs this year, one of the members of our team, I met him online, and friendship started there without, like, for me personally, before I used to like prefer meeting people in person and like getting to know them in person. But no, with Zoom, we found a way. And when there's a need, people react. So yeah, that went on a little bit long, but I hope that I gave you a little bit of holistic idea of what the MSA does. And it's beyond the prayer services. It's a bit more intellectual, and a bit more spiritual, a bit more fun as well, because that's important. We want to have fun in university. So yeah,